diabetes, welcome to 23 weeks. I can't believe I'm 23 weeks pregnant, and that officially means that I'm pretty much in my last month of the second trimester. So it's a long month, it's 5 weeks, but if you count the third trimester starting at week 28, that means I've got 1 month left in the second trimester, and that's really, really exciting. I can't believe it, and every week that goes by, I get closer and closer to that 28-week mark, and in my mind, that's my next milestone to get to, because that's where there's like a high infant survival rate in case there was preterm labor or something like that. So 28 weeks is my next milestone, and I'm 1 month away from that. Before I get started on the update, I just want to give everybody a warning that I am going to refer to my baby by what gender it is. So if you missed my gender reveal video, pause the video now and go watch it if you love surprises and don't want to have the surprise ruined for you in this video. I will have my gender reveal linked down below. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. Alright, 23-week symptoms. The first thing that I want to mention, and I actually have noticed this in previous weeks, but I wasn't exactly sure I knew what I was feeling, and so I didn't even bring it up, but I'm pretty sure that I've been having Braxton Hicks contractions. Based on what I've read, it seems like that's what's happening. So every once in a while, I'll notice that my uterus gets really hard, like really firm and hard, and there's no pain associated with it, which is why I wasn't exactly sure before if it was actually Braxton Hicks, because I thought Braxton Hicks were supposed to be slightly uncomfortable, and maybe they are, maybe that's not what's going on, but I'm pretty sure those are uterine contractions, and yeah, let me know if you guys have an opinion on that. I think what I'm feeling is Braxton Hicks, and it doesn't happen very often, but yeah, just every once in a while I'll notice that my uterus tightens up, gets sort of more compact and really, really tight, and then after about a minute it goes away and it's not there anymore. So I do think that I'm starting to get Braxton Hicks contractions. The next thing, just since I'm on the topic of my uterus, it's getting really big. Like, it's gotten to the point where I can easily feel where the boundary is, like where the border is, especially when I'm lying down on my back. If I just take my fingers and sort of press in lightly, I can feel where the top of my uterus is. And guys, it's above my belly button. It's officially, like, I remember when it got to my belly button, I thought, oh my gosh, it got to my belly button, it's huge. But now it's surpassed that. Like, it's a little bit above my belly button. And when my baby kicks, I feel it a lot higher than I ever have before. Like, I'll feel her kick me, last night I was feeling, and it was like right in my belly button. I could look down and see, when she would kick, I would see like my belly button go boom, boom. It was really, really weird. So that's kind of been cool to see just how quickly my uterus is growing, and to be able to experience how then my baby's able to move around to different areas and kick in different places, and it just really feels like she's getting huge. So that's really exciting. Alright, finally the last pregnancy symptom that's new for me this week, and it's a little bit TMI, but you know, this is a pregnancy update, so you knew what you were getting yourselves into. This week I have noticed that my nipples are starting to leak. And not much. So when I say that, you might get an image in your head of, you know, droplets coming out, and that's not what's happening, but there's definitely something. Like, occasionally I'll look down and I'll see moisture, like wetness, and it's a clear liquid, and I'm wondering if that's like the beginnings of colostrum or something like that. I did read that week 23 weeks is when you can start producing some like really rudimentary type of breast milk. So so yeah, that's happening, and it's very, very tiny amounts, very tiny, but coming from someone who's never had a baby and never breastfed, it's totally new experience for me to have stuff coming out of my nipples, like liquid coming out of my nipples, and it's also gotten me in the mindset of breastfeeding. Okay, so on to the diabetes side of things. So this week has been interesting for me, and I've wanted to share this with all of my diabetic viewers out there, because I feel like, you know, I got to that point, 20 weeks, 21 weeks, where my insulin requirements started going up, 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 which is to be expected. That's what happens. I updated you, I think it was last week or the week before, that had started to happen, and I adjusted my basal rate insulin That's my baseline insulin, and it took care of the problem. Well, I think I've discovered, as a diabetic, I think I've discovered now what is going to happen to me from now until the rest of my pregnancy. I think this is how it's going to work. I'm going to have one bad week of blood sugars where, there needs to be some insulin adjustment, and I'm going to have 1 week where my blood sugars are a little bit harder to predict, harder to control, until I catch on that I need to raise my insulin. And then I'm going to raise my insulin, and so the following week will be really, really good, but then my insulin requirements will change again. You see what I'm saying? I have a feeling that there's going to be this cycle where I have like one bad week, one good week, one bad week, one good week, as I'm adjusting my insulin constantly, because I think that that is what's happening. I'm needing to adjust my insulin a lot more frequently than I thought I would. So last week I had this amazing week of blood sugars because I had adjusted my basal rates and it was perfect. And then this week, my numbers have been like higher than usual, just not predictable. And I live a pretty predictable life. I eat very similar foods every day. I eat at the same time, the same amount. My blood sugars are usually very predictable, and they just haven't been behaving. And so it finally hit me, oh, you know what? I think your insulin requirements are going up again. So why don't you change your basal rates? So that's exactly what I did, and boom, solved the problem again. So to any of my viewers who are diabetic and planning on getting pregnant, just know that once your insulin requirements start changing after the 20-week mark, you're going to have to be on top of that. Like, it's not just like, you make one change a month. Like, it's almost day by day where your insulin requirements are going to be different. You just have to keep a really close eye on it. And trust me, it's not a big deal at all. And when I say, I should clarify, when I say that my numbers are high or unpredictable, they're not very high. They're just higher than what I like. I like to keep my blood sugars under 100, like around the clock if I can. So this past week I've had spikes up to 120, 130, and I had one time it went to 140. So that's what I mean by high, and it doesn't happen very often, but yeah, just unpredictable. And so just know that once you get to that point in pregnancy, you're just going to have to keep a really close eye on it, but it is totally possible to manage it. I have been so happy and shocked in a way at how easy it is. Like, all I have to do literally is just up my basal rate by a couple units, and boom, solves the problem. And until then, maybe in a week, I'll be telling you guys again, yep, my insulin changed yet again. So yeah, it's not that difficult, but as long as you're checking your blood sugar, you're able to catch it and respond to it. About my high blood sugars, this is another diabetes-specific related symptom. This past week, and I think it's because my blood sugars have been running a little bit higher, and I think I've been stressing about it more than I realized, because my sleep has actually gotten disturbed. So one of the things that's starting to happen is I've become a really antsy sleeper, like a light sleeper. So what will happen is my husband usually goes to bed after I do, or he turns the light off after I'm already asleep because he stays up reading. And what's happened like several nights in a row, 3-4 nights in a row, is as soon as the light goes off and I hear that he's clicked the light off, I wake up like this and I go, oh, what time is it? Did I get my shot? Like, what's going on? And I sort of freak out. I'm kind of half awake in this daze and almost like moaning, like, oh, did I take my shot? And so I think, and he's actually starting to get worried about me because it seems as though I'm like maybe subconsciously more stressed out than I think. And yeah, it is definitely true that it is overnight that I worry the most, because it's my overnight numbers that have been running high. So yeah, I've been waking up sort of like this, going, what time is it? Did I take my shot? Did I forget? Where's my blood tester? I gotta check my blood sugar. So yeah, I've had a couple of those episodes. And then the other thing that's happened this week is I've had two really vivid nightmares, totally 100% diabetes, anxiety, pregnancy related. And they're both very similar. And basically, I don't have to tell you the details because the same thing happened in both. I check my blood sugar and it's like, in one of them, I was doing nothing. I was like, everything was fine. It's not like I ate cake or anything like that. And then I checked my blood sugar in my dream and it was over 400. and I was like, what? And I freaked out. I was like, how did that happen? How could my number possibly be that high? Oh, the poor baby, is everything gonna be okay? And then I like woke up suddenly in my bed, freaked out, and I checked my blood sugar, and I mean, it was fine, it was like 80, but in my dream it freaked me out. And then the other night that happened, I dreamt that I was doing my normal morning routine, and I had woken up and checked my blood sugar, and it was 1,000. And in my dream I freaked out, and I said, this can't be right, this can't possibly be right. So I check again, and the second time I checked it was 2,000. So yeah, I definitely am having some blood sugar related anxiety. I think it's like underlying though, because I'm not consciously aware of it. If you were to ask me, I feel like I'm handling things pretty well. I don't feel stressed. I still feel over the moon, excited, happy that I found out I'm having a girl, and I just can't wait to meet her. I'm like really focused on the positive side of pregnancy, but based on these dreams I've been having and the fact that I've been waking up like freaked out about whether or not I took my shot, I think it means that I'm more stressed than I'm aware. But yeah, that's just par for the course, and I think the fact that I'm a first-time parent, and this is my first pregnancy, also contributes to that. I mean, whether you're diabetic or not, your first pregnancy, I feel like people have more anxiety during the first pregnancy because you don't know what to expect. And that's perfectly normal, and it's perfectly, you know, allowed to be anxious a little bit because it's scary when you go through anything for the first time. So yeah, I think that's what's going on, and I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Any of you who are diabetic and want to become pregnant at some point, maybe these are some things that you can be aware of before they happen. So, all right, I think that that's it for my 23-week update, so I'll go ahead and end with a belly shot. It is from the side. From the front. And from this side. She's growing. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching my 23-week update. I can't wait to get to 24 weeks, 25 weeks, 26 weeks. This is all very exciting. The fact that I know that I'm having a baby girl and I'm starting to plan, I just feel like I've just gotten to this point in pregnancy that I'm loving, and the positives of being pregnant far, far, far outweigh the difficulties of having a high-risk type 1 diabetes pregnancy. You know, the first half of the pregnancy, I was so focused on my blood sugars, and I just, in a way, felt miserable. I felt trapped by my blood sugars and by the fact that I was diabetic, and I felt like sort of freaked out all the time, not sure if I was going to hurt my baby based on high blood sugars, things like that. I feel like I'm past a lot of that, and I am now just really, really enjoying being pregnant. And again, I hope that that offers some hope to all of you watching, other diabetics out there. It is totally possible to have a normal, healthy pregnancy, even if you have pre-existing diabetes. And I mean, it takes some hard work, but it is totally worth it. And look at me, I was freaked out for the first half, but here I am now, and I'm loving being pregnant, even though I'm diabetic. Like, yeah, I just said it, I'm loving being pregnant. I love feeling her move, and just, yeah. So, I hope you guys have a great week. As always, if you have any comments or questions or anything like that, just leave them down below. And besides that, I think that's it for this week. So I will see you guys next week in my 24-week update. Bye!